I didn't share that right. So you were not going to hear the sound. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to Thrifty Business. I was so busy talking, I forgot to share it. But let me fix that real quick. Trash that. Yeah, I just realized I didn't do the one thing I needed to do. So it's going to be the quietest opening you've ever heard. All right, let's try again. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Thursday night. Time for another episode of Thrifty Business. Sorry so much for that awful beginning. I totally spaced on what I had to do. We were so busy talking about Jeff Goldblum that we just lost track of where we were. With me tonight is Joy Williams from a different part of the country since the last time you saw Joy. Hi, Joy. How are you, dear?
Hi, Jay. I'm good. How are you?
I am dandy. Here. Let me give myself this. This is how well I thought I did on opening of the show. Yeah, thanks. It's not aimed at you, it's aimed at me.
The dog is peeing on me.
Yeah. So it's going to be an awesome night tonight because we have a great guest. So without further ado, let me get the segments popping off here, and we'll get our guest in here. Now it's time for Jay's Tiki-Tock. Each week I drink a different rum out of a different mug, and I try and match up to our guest. Our guest this week is Jeannie LaSalle. Hello, Jeannie. How are you?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hey,
What
Jeannie.
is happening? All right. So you live in the Sacramento area, and there is a tiki bar up there called the Jungle Bird. So tonight I have my Jungle Bird mug. And for my rum, I have Old Nassau. Now, before anyone gets mad at me, I'm not calling you old, but it is gold rum, and you won the Shine Award. So that's how I tied them together this week.
That's awesome. Perfect choice.
And it
Now
is
I'm
delicious.
jealous.
What are you
Really
drinking?
jealous. I'm drinking water.
Same.
I'll have a drink at the concert. So
Yeah, where are you headed tonight?
I'm headed to see Bob Seger at Shoreline.
I'm so jealous.
I'm dying. I'm so excited.
That's going to be awesome. But before she gets to that, she's going to hang out with us. We're going to hear her story. And for now, sit back, relax, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get right to our segments. Yee-hoo! Because I got a lot of good shit to share this week. Time for our scores of the week. Oops. I didn't realize it wasn't up there. Let's try that again. Hello.
There we go.
Time for our scores of the week. Joy and I are going to share with us the awesome things that we sold. These are bolos. Be on the lookout. Joy, you are up first. Ooh, look at these sexy shoes.
So this is a pair of Tory Burch shoes that I found back when I was still living in Tucson at St. Vincent de Paul for $4. They were like new. It was really tempting to keep them, but I sold them on Poshmark for $50. And as you know, on Poshmark, the buyer pays shipping. So that was a nice little return on my investment.
Yeah, I hear that quite often from a lot of my female co-hosts. Oh, they're my size. Should I sell them?
Oh, they were, they're super gorgeous and they look really pointy, but they were unbelievably comfortable. And it was really difficult for me to let them go. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I just moved back to Chicago from Tucson. And so my scores are a little bit different this week. And so this one, I want to talk to you about perceived value. So this is the couch that was in my living room in Tucson. And I used it, but barely for 15 months. And I resold it before I moved for $5 less than I paid for it. So on the one hand, you could think I've had this, whatever it is, couch, dress, whatever. And it's been 15, months since I've had it, but you can still turn around and sell things for nearly what you paid for them, sometimes more. it's about the perceived value. And in my opinion, that couch was still worth what I paid for it.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So some of you might remember a few months ago, I bought 6 wardrobe boxes of women's clothes plus this rack. I paid $100 for everything. I cherry picked it, listed things. I just went back to my most recent 90 days, and out of what I paid $100 for, I had $443 in sales. And I turned around and I resold it for the same $100, plus the buyer who came in bought $45 extra stuff that I hadn't even listed. Just random, pieces of inventory to as a reseller. So just because you paid something and maybe used it or cherry picked it a little bit, doesn't mean you can't still turn around and resell it for what you have into it. So that was pretty exciting. Plus it got it out of my house so I could move.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
So this one has yet to sell, but it's not currently listed. Okay, so I paid $2 for this vase, and it doesn't look very big, but it's actually 15 inches tall and 9 inches wide. I paid $2 at a thrift store for myself. And when I was getting ready to move, I almost put it on Facebook Marketplace for like $50, and I would have been happy with 25. And the reseller voice in the back of my head said, "You better ask." So I put it up on Facebook and said, "Does anybody know? I don't want to call it vintage." It wasn't even, "Is this worth anything?" It was, "Do you think this is vintage?" Turns out that it's Blanco. And in other colors, it has sold for as much as $500. So, you've got to do your research no matter what. But that is the best score that I have found in a while. I'm pretty happy about that one.
Nice. I can't wait till when we see when it actually sells.
It will.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sold a San Marcos baby blanket. So it wasn't even a size big enough for a queen bed, as you can see, because that's a queen bed right there. But it's got the little teddy bears and the honey on it. Didn't sell for a lot, but being a smaller size, I didn't pay a lot. I think I paid $3 or $4 for it. Sold for $25. I always talk about look for specialty magazines in the magazine section. Most thrift stores have them. You don't need to resell, Entertainment Weekly or People, but Rodder's Journals specifically, it's a really higher end magazine, thick, glossy pages for guys who are into hot rods and restoring hot rods. So I grabbed a whole bunch of them at $2 a piece, threw them in a lot, and there they go, off for $58.
Nice.
I know it's gonna be a shocker to most of you. I sold some kids' clothes. Woo-hoo!
Wow. Look at you expanding your horizons.
I know. I found this in Milwaukee last year. We always go up to Milwaukee for one day during Ecom Chicago week. My wife and I go to the same antique stores. We like hitting them at a tiki bar. I know. Shocker. But, man, we kept finding all these vintage kids' clothes that looked really cool. This was a cape and a dress. No brand or anything. And it was so cool. And it was $10. I'm like, I got to give this a whirl. So I sold it for $38.
Nice.
And, I always tell you, you can drink for free around the country, as witnessed by this mug from 3 Dots and a Dash in Chicago, right where Joy is right now. I think they were selling the mug for $60 at the time, so I sold it for $110. But I have a bunch of them, so it's not the biggest return. But I just hit relist. Another one will sell for $110 in the near future. I'll hit relist again. Easy peasy. So I'm always happy when I sell a $110 tiki mug. Woo-hoo! All right, so that was my normal scores of the week. Now it's time for my CD and cassette scores of the week, but I didn't have any cassette scores, so it's all CD scores. We had a good question. Where is it? There we go. Do Poshmark buyers ever ask you to model the shoes, Joy?
Not the genuine ones, no. You do get some of those same fetish people on Poshmark, less so than on eBay, but every once in a while you will get them. For every 100 times you get asked that question, one person is a legitimate buyer that just kind of wants to get an idea of how it looks on the foot. So you kind of have to decide what kind of buyer that is.
Yeah. All right. Look, when this sold, it was still the last week of last week of summer. And yet people are already looking for Christmas CDs. This is William Hung. You will remember William Hung from being the worst singer on American Idol ever. And I picked this up last Christmas. It was listed for Christmas, didn't sell then, but sold last week last week of summer for $22. I paid $3 for it. So keep your eyes open for William Hung for the holidays. I wasn't sure what to do with this one. It was a 1-song test pressing CD. So it was just a burned CDR. But if it was someone just making their own, they definitely wouldn't have put on Sound Cellar, Trinity Muse, Cambridge Gardens, London. They wouldn't have put all that shit on there. So this was definitely something somebody did at the record company. I couldn't find the radio edit anywhere that you could easily snag. So I put up this 1-song CD. It sold in a day and a half. I probably underpriced it.
Wow.
But I paid $1. It was laying around. Wasn't sure if I was going to list it. Listed it, sold it for $36. I'll take it. Woo!
Nothing wrong with a quick flip sometimes.
Yeah. All right. So I teased this the other day in the Secret Beach. This is the soundtrack to the movie Adventures in Babysitting. Anyone remember that movie?
I love that movie.
I think I saw it one time. But I know that the tag got a little ripped, but that does say $50 on it. So Stacy and I were at Amoeba Records in Hollywood. She found this. She showed me. She scanned it. I liked what I saw, and we paid $50 for it. Now, most people wouldn't have paid $50 for this. Now, when I shop, I also use a rewards credit card. So buying this CD, I also got 50 more miles towards my next free flight on Southwest. And I turned around. Oh, and I did a little haul back when we first got this. We got this 4 months ago, and I was showing the sold. So I would hold up the CD on the haul we did. And at that time, the solds on eBay were $110, and they were $140 on Amazon. And I can sell on Amazon. So I listed it on Amazon, and ta-da! I sold it for $140. So when all the smoke cleared, I cleared about $65, $67 profit. Now, I am sure most of you, again, still would probably be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to spend $50 on a CD, but you would definitely buy something you can turn into a $67 profit just like that. Easy peasy. All right? So if you haven't started flipping CDs yet, what are you waiting for? Because I've already sold an $84 CD today that will be on next week's show. So the big CDs never stop rolling out of my office here. So I want y'all to make as much money flipping CDs as I do. But they can't all be winners. Sometimes there are duds of the week.
Flush there.
Yeah. Don't let our mistakes be yours.
Okay, so this one, I don't get it. This was a vintage, fully fashioned women's virgin wool hand-loomed sweater. It still had the tags on it. It was super cute. It should have sold around $40. It says 15, but I actually think I took an offer maybe of 10, and the buyer paid shipping. It was one of the first things I bought when I got to Tucson, which means it was one of the last things I sold before I left. So it took 18 months to sell. And I think I paid $5.99 for it. I was super disappointed and shocked by that. All right. So I broke our own cardinal rule. Don't start an auction for less than you want to get for something. But I was under the gun, and these giant lots, which I did a lot of 30 mixed pieces of clothing, they can start out at a 99-cent auction plus shipping and sell. And so I tried it, and it sold at auction for 99 cents plus shipping, which means I'm in the hole. Now, I only paid 30 cents an item because they were part of that big haul, but I am still in the hole for the final valuation fees on the, I think they paid $40-ish for shipping. So I paid final. So I ended up in the hole on that a little.
Sorry, but I'll give you a cocktail, make you feel better.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So that was
all right. So I don't know why I thought this would be better. Maybe the comps were better the day I found it, but once I got it up and listed, and actually I only took 14 for this. Zootopia, which was a very cute movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but no one really cared about the hat. So I took $14 for it, and I was happy to see it go because it kept kicking around here forever. And this was one I thought, man, should have sold a long time ago. It was up for at least 2 years. And it was just, it wasn't soft plush. It was vinyl, so it was a little harder. So it wouldn't be like, oh, how sweet. But it was a cool little Jack Skellington that was just different than the rest. And it finally got an offer of $12. I was like, bye-bye, Jack. And I had free shipping. I was so happy to see it go. But the funny thing was I have a new assistant who is an adult, has teens, and she had never seen Nightmare Before Christmas or really even heard of it. And so this started her education on Nightmare Before Christmas.
I probably would have put Halloween in the title instead of what that was at the end.
I think I had it in the item specific. So. All right, now it's time for Where in the World Did Our Stuff Go? If you are not shipping internationally, you are leaving out 7.3 billion with a B potential customers. What is happening here?
So I didn't have any very recent international sales, but it was kind of funny because right before I left Tucson, I had a little flurry of a bunch of sales for things I had bought in Tucson and went to Tucson, including this Hawaiian shirt. Some of them, one of them was like, I think it was the shirt actually, that must be why I used it, went to a house the block over from me.
So this segment is about where you shipped in the world, and you shipped it 1 block away.
Yes, because
that's
sometimes
just
it's kind
funny.
of funny when you buy stuff in one town and that's where it ends up going.
So you went 1 block. I went to London, right near the British Museum. But what I thought was cool was that I didn't realize when I initially shipped it, it went to a company. And so when I looked up what the company does, just because I thought, oh, maybe that'd be a little fun side note for the show tonight. They're a company that helps LGBTQ adults over 50 to live a happy, sociable, and independent life. So I'm like, oh, awesome. That is, hell yeah. That is really awesome. And you're going to see this shirt again in a What Not to Do segment coming up in a couple segments. Oh, this is a Robert Graham shirt, and I sold it for $72.
Nice. No flip cup?
Yeah, but that's what you're going to see in the What Not to Do. So you'll see in a second. Now it's time for Close Encounters of the Thrifty Kind. Just a little fun, run-ins with others at the thrift store or flea market or whatever. Just fun little made us kind of laugh thing. So I'll let Joy go first.
Okay, so not this past weekend, the weekend before was my last full weekend in Tucson before coming home to Chicago, which is where my kids still live. And I got a call from my son, that's us last Christmas, and he said, I just wanted to say thank you for buying me that stuff at Goodwill. And I said, what do you mean? Like, knowing he doesn't have one of my debit cards or anything, I'm like, what is he talking about? So he and his girlfriend were at Goodwill, and when they went to check out, they said, do you have a phone number for the Goodwill rewards? Maybe you have a coupon? And so they're not signed up for Goodwill rewards, but they thought, I bet mom is. So they put my phone number in, and I still had a $5 Goodwill coupon sitting there. So they got a $5 off of their purchase by putting in my phone number. So I was shopping at the Goodwill in Chicago from Tucson, apparently.
There you go. See, thrifty encounters happen everywhere. All right. So Stacy and I were at Savers a couple nights ago. And we had just started, so we're in the first couple rows, and someone just dropped something big a few rows over. And just as I was about to say out loud to no one, I wasn't in aisle 3. As you can see, this woman through the shelves here, she said really to no one, man, I hope that wasn't my husband. So that tells me her husband does this kind of thing all the time because she wasn't conversing with anyone.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And I just muttered, I hope it wasn't either because he's going to get an earful. All right, so now it's time for You Have Got to Be Shipping Me, little tips and tricks, what to do and what not to do when it comes to shipping.
Okay, so you want to keep some poly bags around for helping to compress items. This was actually a full-size Sherpa blanket that goes on my bed. It's my favorite blanket. And I had to make it fit into my carry-on.
What?
So that is actually 2 10 by 13 poly bags that I folded it and squeezed it and It's not even taped shut. It's just the poly bags themselves that are closed. And that is a full-size Sherpa blanket. So sometimes when you have things, whether it's a jacket or something bigger, keep some poly bags on hand to help you compress those items to ship them. It would be a lot less expensive to ship that blanket than it would just fold it up as a full-size blanket.
Oh, yeah. Make them as small as you can.
So
all right.
that's my
Just
scale
a
for
generic.
scale.
Yeah. This is just, that's funny. That's funny. I like that. This is just a generic picture of the USPS truck. But I want to say, if you have pickups, if you have a post man or woman that you know by name and you say hi to, make sure, Christmas time, give them some cookies. If it's hot, give them some water, because they'll take care of you. And mine really does. And what really tickled me is because we always chat, it's that friend in your life you talk to for 3 seconds. When we see each other, how's the wife? How's the kids? How's the grandkids? How was the route yesterday? And then boom, they're on. So Stacy and I were in Hawaii for our anniversary. And when we got home, this little note was in the recent tub of mail. Have fun. Happy anniversary, Jason and Stacy. Now, what made me laugh was he's our mail guy that has delivered mail to us for 9 years. He doesn't know how to spell my wife's name correctly. He has seen it for 9 years.
That is funny.
But just that. He took the time to say happy anniversary. And that was just so amazingly touching that I was like, that's awesome. So take care of your postal employees, please.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now it's time for our thrifty tips of the week. Little tips and tricks to help you out when you're outsourcing.
Okay. So this is my favorite time of the year. This is my favorite time of the year to thrift. Always check the Halloween section. You will see things at this time of year that you have not ever seen and you won't see for the rest of the year. Some of the Goodwills, at least in Chicago, hold things in bins in the back that they call Halloween section all year long. So any crazy good, sometimes you'll see good branded Hawaiian shirts or flannel shirts. Good distressed vintage denim ends up in there. Vintage gunny sacks, 80s prom dresses. Always check it, and check it every time you go because they're always putting stuff in there.
So funny. So this is Joy's tip. And my tip of the week is, hey, check the Halloween section. So, when we put the shows together, whoever's co-hosting, if it's Debbie puts it together because she's co-hosting, but she's also my producer. So when Joy's co-hosted, she puts it together for Joy. And of course, I don't know what the tips are going to be. And even though I knew at this, going in, we're on the same tip, I thought it'd be a really hammer it home that both of us are saying that. So I'm actually going to take this off the screen for a second because I do have a thrift haul coming up. I'm going to be doing one with my wife. But I wanted to show you 3 things I got out of the Halloween section that certainly are not Halloween. So I'll go this way. 4 things. These are Burton snowboard pants for teenagers or girls. And so they were in the Halloween section and they are in an excellent condition. And they were $5. So I got those out of the Halloween section. Now, I didn't know this brand of wedding dress. I wouldn't know any brand of wedding dress, but this was in the Halloween section. And here's the brand. And when I looked up the brand, these vintage dresses sell very well. Jessica McClintock.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah.
So this is going to be like a $60 dress that I picked out of the Halloween section for $8.
Mm-hmm.
This is a badass, what I think is like German Alps sports coat. See, look at that. Look how cool that is.
That is cool.
So that was in there for $7. And then I saved the best for last for Joy. So these are, London jeans?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not exciting, right?
Right.
Okay. So you would think, all right, Jay, why are you going to show us these London jeans? Well, because a company called Mountains to the Sea takes plain jeans and then does this with them.
Oh my God, those are fantastic.
Again, in the Halloween section. So if you are under the mistaken impression that the Halloween section only has costumes, look at the cool stuff I found that truly isn't costumes.
Right. You find some of the best stuff you'll find all year.
Yeah.
And
So
shop it till
get
the
out
end.
there.
And shop it till the end. And sometimes even a day after.
We're going to be on a boat, but if you're around November 1st, everything Halloween's half off at every thrift store. Go get it. There's going to be some goodies left. You got to dig a little bit. It'll be a little messy because the day before was obviously Halloween, but there'll be some goodies. So get in there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. That's the wrong sound effect. How about this one? Now it's time for our online selling tips. This used to be our eBay selling tips, but we all sell on multiple platforms. So I thought we should not limit it to eBay because we're talking about not eBay with Joy.
Okay, so my tip for you is to always stay up on the new developments for the various platforms that you sell on. eBay makes a huge deal out of their, spring and fall and seller updates. Most of the other platforms will just quietly send out emails, or you may not see it unless you're looking for it when you go to your notifications. So there's 2 updates that you should be aware of. Poshmark has just rolled out a new market for fine watches and luxury accessories. Poshmark rolls those out a little at a time, seller to seller. So if you don't see it yet, keep looking. And Mercari has introduced a new label. So if you're using Mercari labels, they have introduced a label that now is up to 4 ounces. That's $2.99, which is cheaper than a 4-ounce label on eBay. So if you're selling small and light, headphones, maybe a scarf, you are probably better off using the Mercari label up to 4 ounces for $2.99 for first class. So always pay attention to new developments on the platforms that you're selling on.
Yeah, don't be caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is my what not to do when it comes to selling. So I have a couple Robert Graham shirts in my own closet. And if you don't know Robert Graham shirts, you should, because as you can see, they're good flippers. I sold this one for $73.48. I sold it directly on eBay UK, so that's why it says 59 Great British Pounds. So there's the Robert Graham label. And the thing about Robert Graham shirts are, here's the pattern of the shirt. But the whole key is you roll the cuff back, and the cuff always has a different pattern on it. So your shirt is to be worn without the cuff button because you're going to roll the cuff back. That is the design of a Robert Graham shirt. So when I sold this this morning, I'm looking at the pictures some assistant did. Not one picture of the cuff rolled back. So my tip is, if you have someone helping you with listings and or pictures, I get to the point where they're all pretty good at doing what they're doing when I train them. So I just kind of spot check the title and the price and really don't do anything else. Well, apparently I didn't spot check the pictures either, because the whole point of this shirt is to see the cuff and the cuff rolled back. I am shocked it sold for $73 without seeing what's on the other side of that cuff, because that's the whole point of this shirt. So make sure you're double checking who's ever helping you out. Make sure you double check their work.
To be honest with you,
granted, I still sold it.
I'm kind of shocked that's an extra large. Those sleeves look a lot longer than an extra large to me.
Well, they do make the sleeves longer so you can roll them back. See, that's the whole point. All right, now it's time for Jeans with Joy's Good Job Award of the Week. And I don't got to say it this week because Joy's here.
I'm here. Okay, so this week's winner is Maxine Ricks. So Maxine found this pair of vintage Big E Levi's for $8.95 on a just rolled out rack at Goodwill. We say it all the time. Always check the new racks, check the put back rack. So she saw a new rack coming out and she scooped them up for $8.95. Similar had sold for $1,500. I said, swing for the fences, do an auction at $1,800. She didn't get $1,800. We listed right away at $1,500, and she immediately had a handful of offers, and they sold that very same day for $1,000 plus shipping. So good job, Maxine.
All right, so one more thing, and then we'll get Jeannie in here. Coming up in a few weeks, Ecom Chicago 2019, October 16th through 18th. I'll be there. All right. Joy will be there.
Hello.
John Loss will be there. Chris Green will be there. Robin Johnson, Brian Burke from eBay. They're all going to be there. It's an amazing event. If you haven't got your tickets yet, head over to ecomchicago.com, put in Tiki 20 off, get $20 off. But I'm going to give one away right now. So only answer this question if you can go. The last person who won can't go. Unbelievable. I say this every time I run a contest. If you live in California and you don't plan on being in Chicago in 3 weeks, don't participate. All right, we all know Mrs. O'Leary's cow burnt down Chicago. What was her first name? And not the cow, Mrs. O'Leary. But please only answer if you can go to Chicago October 16th through 18th. Please. Can you believe, Joy? I say that every contest, and then people still participate who can't win.
Every year with this particular contest.
And guess what? Where is she? Angela Ritchie's going to be there too. So three members from the lifeguard team of the Thrifting Board will be at Ecom Chicago. Oops. Yes, Ginny's lips are sealed. Ginny tried to win every prize the other day when we had the 4th anniversary.
That was a fun show.
All right, it is not Rosie, and no, it is not Mary. So apparently, Pollyanna and Maria could attend. They don't have the right answer yet. So it's going to be who can Google faster. There it is. And spelling don't count as long as I know what you're saying. Catherine is the correct answer. Mrs. O'Leary's first name was Catherine. Joyce, please tell me you can be in Chicago October 16th, 17th, and 18th. And if so, you have won a ticket. Yeah. Now, for the rest of you, did I have it up here? No. So we'll get to that in a second. If you're in the military, there is a service that will buy your ticket for you. And you can be either active or retired. There's a post in the Thrifting Board about that. Just look for that picture of me and Chris and John. And if you live in the Chicago area and can't afford the full price ticket, one of the sponsors has donated enough money to offer some what they call grant tickets at a greatly discounted rate, a rate that anyone should be able to afford. And so if you qualify for that, message me. I'll help you out. You don't have to make it a big public thing. Just message me and we will get you squared away. All right. But what else is happening in Chicago?
So on Tuesday, October 15th, which is the day before Ecom starts, I am doing another live thrifting class. It is going to be in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And we will spend like 3 hours in the thrift store. We will do more than just jeans. We will do jeans, but we will do all the other sections of the thrift store. We'll spend about 3 hours. Angela is also going to come join us. She's going to talk about vintage. She's going to talk about how to ship big things. You know, she's not afraid to ship anything. So she's going to talk about that. After that, we will all go to lunch and sit around and talk about thrifting and what we've learned and shipping and just a random, kind of Q&A. So there is a post in the Thrifting Board at the top where you can sign up. There is a discount if you want to sign up and bring your spouse or your business partner or your thrifting buddy. If you register and pay together, then you do get a buy one, get one half off, because a lot of folks were asking about that. Spots are limited, so do not wait. These classes always fill up. Register while you can. Either use the link in the Thrifting Board, message me. It's on my Jeans with Joy page, or you can just send me a message and I'll send you the links. It's going to be.
And Rich and I love put on Ecom Chicago or in the car watching and driving. It sounds kind of dangerous.
Be careful, guys.
Oh shit, Debbie, get in here. I totally forgot Debbie was going to pop in here for a quick second. Yep. All right, let me get Debbie in here real quick. Because people were asking about Debbie's workbook that she had produced for the show. And I was going to have her pop in here, and I forgot to have her be in here already. So get in here, Debs. And then we'll get Jeannie out here and hear her awesome story. And then we'll get Jeannie to a concert. But the rest of us, like, I'm going back to cleaning my house. I'm having a party on Saturday. Jeannie's going to go rock out, and I'm like, meh. There's Debbie. Uh-oh. There she is. Maybe. Hello, Debbie.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So give us a quick rundown. What is this, Debbie?
Okay, I'm hearing some weird. I'm hearing weird feedback. I don't.
Just talk, Debs.
Uh,
Go, Debbie, go.
okay. We remember more what we write. So I created this notebook. So when you're watching the show, you can write down the bolos. You could write down the tips. You could write down the questions. And I'm so sorry. I had the show on, so I was hearing a dumb producer. Anyway.
That's my producer.
I know. I'm like, anyway. I made this notebook so you can write down things that you learned from the show, because people will come in the thrifting board and say, who talked about da-da-da and what show was it on? So we're trying to figure out what date, what link, whatever. This way you can write it all down in the notebook, keep track of what you learned, carry it with you when you go thrifting. Sometimes our phones don't get reception in a thrift store. You might be trying to remember, what was that bolo? Is this on the list? So now you can carry that with you. You can write down the topic, the guest, and there's places for other extra little notes too, and little follow-ups. Maybe you think of a question while you're watching the show, write it down, and you can get that answer later. It's only $7.99. It's on Amazon with free Prime shipping. Lori Watson is writing notes in hers right now. She posted in the chat that she's using hers. And I want to give a shout out to Linda Pacheco. She helped me with grammar and punctuation and all that not so fun stuff.
All right. Yeah. So we got the link in the group. If you can't find it, just message me, Debbie or Joy. We'll get you squared away.
I'm working on a color version too. So the inside will be color and it's prettier. It's going to cost more money, but that's going to be live pretty soon too.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, Deb.
Bye.
So enjoy, and we'll see you later. So let's get Deb out. There's my doorbell. And let's get Surfing Junkie in. How the heck are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Hi, Jeannie. What's going on?
Nothing. Just chatting with you guys. How are you guys?
We are great, and I'm so happy you are on. Let me switch it to that there. And for those who don't know your backstory, why don't you give us like the 2-minute version of how you got, encapsulate your whole life in 2 minutes.
You mean from the beginning? How I got started on eBay, you mean?
No, how you ended up in the foster system and how you ended up, getting the Shine Awards and blah, 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 blah. We'll talk about the Shine Awards in a minute.
Okay. Yeah, I was put into foster care at the age of 5, 4.5, 5, and was there until I aged out at the age of 18. That was in the middle of my senior year. I had a teacher in high school that was really incredible. He kind of took me under his wing and kind of saved my life because I ran away from a foster home when I was 16 and ended up on the streets and homeless a couple times. But anyways, that was the bad part. Fast forward to married with kids. I was involved in a business. I had a bunch of inventory when I quit. And so that's where I landed on eBay. I think it was in 2000 originally. So it's been about 18, 19 years. I had an account before Surfing Junkie. I was looking it up the other day because I was like, man, I had another account before. But yeah, so I think it was 2000 and just started selling all that old inventory. And when I ran out of that, I kind of was looking for more because I liked it. Decided I wanted to do a little business and did that for a long time. I sold clothes for a while. I sold my kids' clothes. I sold Barbie dolls, really anything I could get a hold of, and then kind of landed on health and beauty because it's small and light, easy to deal with, consumable, can sell a lot of it quickly. And so that's kind of what I do now. I'm about 90% on Amazon, about 10% on eBay, and I love it. Yeah, so that's kind of my thing. And I don't know if you wanted me to talk about the glass slipper, but that's a group I work with. Yeah, it's girls that are aging out of the system, same situation that I was in. What happens is that the state of California came along and saw that girls were aging out of the system and so decided they were going to try and do something about it. It was under Schwarzenegger, actually. I want to say like 2008, but So they give these girls a chunk of money. It's about $700. It's really not enough to live on. And so what we're seeing is that most of these girls end up in human trafficking or living on the streets. And so we try to work with them before. We try to get them at least by the age of 15 or 16, get them connected with our support system and make sure that as they're turning 18, as they're coming to that point, that we get them into transitional housing and make sure that they don't end up on the streets. So I started working with them about 5 years ago. Between this organization and probably 2 other organizations that I work with, I love it. I really, really love it. But my eBay business and Amazon is able to, I think last year we donated about $45,000 to these organizations.
Wow.
So, yeah. My kids were in college, and when my kids were in college, I wasn't able to give as much. But as they graduated from college and I had less of a financial need, at one point we were paying like $6 or $7 grand for our kids to be in college because every month. Because we didn't want them to have student loans. And so when they were done, my husband and I sat down and were like, hey, what do we do? I think these are our kids too. So we just kind of said, we're going to just take that money and throw it back into these other kids' lives. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And so I try to tell all the customers, you're really, really making a difference. You aren't just buying something online from an e-commerce seller. You're really making a difference. So,
yeah, when we heard Jeannie's story, and we're looking at the people who were up for the Shine Awards, and heard that story, we're like, there was no other choice, because one of our own, our admin Robin, has been a foster parent, her and her husband Dennis, forever, and she's our superhero. Because, I don't have any kids, but I remember breaking my mom's heart being a shitty teenager. And so to have, new kids all the time in your house, taking care of them, and she's had some wonderful times and some bad times, but to be that super of a human being is just so awesome. So we saw Jeannie's story. We're like, duh, that's who we have to back. They're just, and then we found out her eBay name was surfinjunkie, and we have the whole surf theme. I'm like, what could be better, right, Joy?
Yeah, exactly. And Jeannie wasn't in our group yet, but a friend of hers was. And so, I sent a message to her friend and said, hey, bring your friend over because we're behind her. And, it would be great if we could get her, in the group so we can all talk to her, because she's just, she's amazing. And she's as amazing as her story is when you're hearing it like this in person, because we met at eBay Open. She just has a light and a positivity to her that is just, if we could bottle that and sell it, then, she'd be donating a lot more money. I just love her.
And I will say, Jeannie, sometimes when you meet people who are really into what they're doing, like helping out the glass slipper, sometimes they forget about life. And so their whole focus is, I'm just helping out this. And the rest of life doesn't really matter. Jeannie partied like a rock star in Vegas. So she still gets her shit done and just parties like the rest of us. She had so much fun watching her dance around the House of Blues.
Oh my God.
yeah.
Absolute blast.
Yeah.
So
the Spasmatics were off the hook. They were just so great. That party was awesome.
Yeah.
So what got you into, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring for the Shine Award?
Yeah, so since I started working with the glass slipper, they've been doing a lot of projects, but they took this undertaking of this kitchen project, and it's really expensive. And so the last 6 months, I've been kind of putting my feelers out there, trying to find grants for them and ways to generate funds to finish that kitchen. And so that's when I saw that you could get money for a charity, I just said, okay, let's try it. So that's why I applied.
And that's an awesome reason to do it. And then, hey, you won.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best. Wait. I have something before that. Hold on. I have confetti. You won.
Yay. It's really cute because a lot of the girls knew what was going on and they were watching and involved in social media. And so they kept saying, hey, we got nominated. We're up for Business of the Year and we won a Shine Award. And it was so adorable because they really felt like they won. Because what we try to do with the girls is get them to take ownership of anything that they do. If it's a project or an event or anything, get them to take ownership. And so I told them from the beginning, I said, this is all about you. And so when we did win the Shine Award, we were one of the 8. They were freaking out because they thought the glass slipper won. And I told them that's exactly what it is. So it was exciting for them. They thought that they were social media, famous people and that kind of a thing. So it was fun.
That's awesome.
So is the glass slipper only in certain parts of California? Is it all of California or is it just near you?
It's just in Citrus Heights. It's a very small sort of grassroots effort. It's been around for a long time. At any given time, we're working with about 40 to 60 young ladies. And there's a lot of these types of things, so if you're in an different area of the country, and the case of the foster child really touches your heart, I just encourage you to contact the CASA. It's CASA. It's Court Appointed Special Advocate. That's a program that's everywhere in the country. And the CASA is a program that works with foster kids, and it's on a nationwide level. But they can connect you with local groups and things that you can do, ways that you can get involved. If you can't fully be a foster parent, you don't have the ability to take that undertaking, then you can get involved in other ways. So I really encourage that.
So what, do any of the girls help you in your business? Do you have any employees? Are they from the Glass Slipper, or how does your business work?
So I have a couple of employees, usually all of the time, most of them part-time. It just depends on what I'm doing, what time of the year it is, but it's always been my desire to keep it fairly small. I'm kind of a myopic person. I'm very focused on whatever it is that I'm doing. And so I knew that if it got too big, it would just kind of take over every aspect of my life. So just to keep my personality in check, I've always kept it fairly small in terms of like what I needed to do and how many employees I needed to take on. The Glass Slipper girls do not work for me, but they do work within the Glass Slipper. So it's called Elabella Marketplace. They make things, they sew things, always trying to find something to spark a passion in them, whether it would be like sewing or they take old furniture and sand it down and refinish it and sell it at this marketplace. There's one of the gals, she takes wooden pieces into wood shop at high school and she carves people's names in them and she sells them at the marketplace. So that's mainly what they do. The girls, as they get older, I have taught one or two of them to e-commerce a little bit. I want to get into that a little bit more. When I saw that one Small Business of the Year, the More Than Words, they had the bookstore that they do in Boston.
Yeah.
I'd really love to clone that in Sacramento where the Glass Slipper girls are. And we're kind of throwing that option up there too. But we try to find something that they're passionate about to get them to just focus their energy in that direction rather than other things. So,
So a couple people are saying, Susan here, yes, I'm a CASA volunteer locally. So,
that is so awesome. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan.
So you used to sell fun stuff, and now you're selling not fun stuff. But how do you get your product? And Joy's done a lot. I'm going to mute you for a second so you don't hear my ridiculous feedback. Joy's done a lot of Amazon selling too. So, Joy, are you merchant fulfilled or FBA?
Both.
Both.
I've done
And
a
then
ton of
Jeannie,
that.
what about you? And where are you finding your stuff?
I travel a lot for the items that I get. I have a couple connections in the New York area, and that's a lot of where I'm getting my items. I get them some locally, but I have to travel a lot because those are the connections that I've made. But fortunately, I like to travel. I am about, let me think about my inventory. As far as Amazon goes, I'm about 50-50 on the merchant fulfilled, but within my merchant fulfilled, I'm about 80% seller fulfilled Prime. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with seller fulfilled Prime, but I do a ton of seller fulfilled Prime.
I don't. I mean, by design, I haven't since it, since its inception. It's, one of the things I like about FBA is that it goes and it stays, and to me, it's just the daily commitment to meet those deadlines was just not something I wanted.
It's really tough, but I
for me.
deal with a lot of fragrances, and so when you send to FBA items that are hazmat, you have to pay to ship it yourself at your own rate. You do not get those predetermined,
right?
Really, really great 50-pound box for $7 to an FBA warehouse. You actually have to pay for it yourself. And so when I crunch the numbers, it's just more cost effective for me to do seller fulfilled Prime on a lot of those items that are hazmat. And she was asking, what is seller fulfilled Prime? So it's kind of a subcategory of Prime. It's where you're actually fulfilling Prime orders from your warehouse. So it's coming directly from my hands at my warehouse to an Amazon buyer, but it is Prime. It's a Prime order, so it's got to get there in 2 days.
Right.
There are exceptions to that. You can do small and light Prime, and they give you a 4-day window, but it has to be under $15.
Right.
So
it's different than just regular merchant fulfilled or seller fulfilled.
Yes.
Where you ship it, you have to meet very stringent deadlines. You have to be accepted in as a seller who's eligible for it. So it's not something you can just jump into. You have to kind of work your way into it.
I think at this point they have to invite you. I feel like I'm trying to remember.
You can't just say I'm going to do it. Amazon will tell you when you're eligible. And so if it's something that you want to get into, then you need to be offering those fast shipping options and get your metrics to the point where Amazon thinks that you are capable of meeting the requirements for seller fulfilled Prime.
And it's very demanding because if you don't have one shipped out, 1 out of 1,000, I forget what, it's like 99.9 something. If you fall below that, and it was one order this one time, and they gave me this huge warning, and so you have to make sure that you have that inventory readily available. You're with the time frame. It's a little more difficult now because a couple months ago they changed the cutoff time from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Even more crazy.
Yeah.
So, but you can shut it off and turn it back on as you want to. It's very demanding.
But you have to know what you're getting yourself into so that you don't jeopardize your standing with Amazon. If you know that, the cutoff is 2:00 and your kids have ballet and soccer from 2 to 6, and you're not going to be able to get those last minute shipments out towards the end of the day, then it's not something that you should jump into.
Yeah. Exactly.
So because you travel a lot, that must mean you have somebody you really trust back at HQ.
Yes.
Do you turn it off when you travel, or your employees?
It depends. It both ways. It just depends on the situation. When I went to eBay Open, I completely shut Amazon down altogether. And I did that just for peace of mind. And thank God that I did, because my daughter-in-law, who would have been the one doing my packages, her house burnt down. Her apartment burned down. And there's no way I could have asked her to go to work and packages. So just as a precautionary situation, when I knew I only had one person available that could do it, I
Mhm.
cut it off. But if I have a couple options, then I'm okay with leaving it on.
And then I wanted to point out, we do have another foster mom in the audience right now.
Oh, thank you, Orty. That is so awesome.
Yeah, that is beyond cool. All right, so let's talk about, I think Jeannie had this idea that she was going to come to Vegas, chill out, hang out, go do the extracurriculars with us because we always do a lot of parties. And then she got her itinerary and she's like, oh my, I got a lot to do. So what exactly did they have you do, and how much running around, and how many dinners, meetings, how much? Tell us about that whole experience.
Well, I'm going to say this. My husband said to me after the first night that morning, he said, you laid in bed and you didn't even pick up your phone. I don't even know how many years it's been since I've seen you do that. I was exhausted. Was meeting after meeting, and like they had us go on stage and prep for how, walk through what was going to happen constantly. And they were feeding us constantly, like really, really good food, lunches and dinners and that type of thing. A lot of talking. And it's funny because the first night I sat next to an Amazon, I don't know who he was, but somebody with Amazon. It's not anyone's name that I would remember. But I asked him a question. I said, when are we going to get fulfillment centers? And he said, well, I don't know. We're kind of thinking. And then after Devin announced it, like, you knew.
Yeah.
I was asking you these questions. So it was funny because they were being secretive even with us about different things. Mm-hmm. But we had a lot of conversations, a lot of time to talk about what we feel like is working and what's not working. Everybody, all the Shine winners kept saying, we need seller panels. We need seller panels meeting with executives on a regular basis so that you understand and you know what's going on here and what changes need to happen. Because I know, we all know that we wouldn't be in business without a customer, but you need sellers too. So it's a partnership, a three-way partnership. So, but yeah, it was very busy. Lots and lots of talking and lots of drinks and, schmoozing with everybody and hanging out. So, but it was fun.
Yeah, I could see on your face you were having a blast, especially that last night. We were all having a great time. So congrats again on that, and just for being an amazing human being. So the one thing you and I have already talked about a little bit, and I want to off air look at our calendars together, but I would like to come up and work with you in the Glass Slipper. And if any of the girls are interested in e-commerce, teach them my class on eBay that I take around the country for free, obviously. I know Debbie lives up in the area, and she'll be happy to come by. And we would love to those who might be interested, give them the full, here's what you're looking for, here's how to list it, give the whole Jason treatment.
Hey, once I showed them your picture, they want to meet you no matter what you're doing. They're excited. But no, they love music. Our young generation, they love music. So I could really see, really getting excited about this, because it's something that I think that generation is passionate about anyways, and just learning. They love the old stuff too. They love all of it. So, I could see them having a real blast, but I look forward to that, Jason. That's going to be fun.
Heck yeah. And I've told the story a few times, but it still boggles my mind. I have a 17-year-old that takes pictures for me. She lives next door, and she came to work in a Metallica shirt the other day. And, some 17-year-olds wear Metallica shirts and they don't know even who they are, but she knows all the songs. But yet when she went to take pictures, she was listening to Hall & Oates. And I'm like, what year is it? Like, Hall & Oates? What? So yeah, very exciting.
The other day, my daughter turned on Billy Ocean, like, and I was like, wait, you're 23. How do you know that? But they do. They love it all.
Can I just throw something in real quick? So, and this is something I've talked about in our group before, but it seems relevant on the show, and it is that time of year. So if you are also looking for another way to help girls in need, We are just wrapping up on homecoming season, and there's girls who have paid tons of money for those dresses. They're going to end up at Goodwill. In almost every major city in the country, there are organizations that collect gently used formal wear, purses, shoes, those kinds of things that you're going to see an influx in the thrift stores. And they provide them for free for girls for prom in the spring, whether those girls are homeless or just have a financial need. Maybe they're in a foster home or some other financial situation. So if you're looking for a way to help, find those organizations in your town. And the next time you're at the thrift store and you see a gently used, a formal wear or a purse or a pair of shoes, scoop them up and donate them, because those girls are so grateful, and they get shut out a lot of times of of this rite of passage, which is the prom, because they simply can't afford that very expensive thing that comes around in the spring. So this is a great time to start scooping up those items and helping those girls.
Especially the plus size dresses. That's what we find, because the ones that we get donated are these motherly, grandmother of the bride. If you see a pretty prom dress that's in a plus size, there's just, pick that one up, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Too funny what you just said that, because I have a brand new assistant so not the teenager, I have an actual other assistant who's an adult with her own teens. And I was very much explaining plus size clothes. I'm a big dude, and I have shopped at the big and tall stores almost my entire life. And there was that period of time when the universe felt big and tall men and women didn't want to be sexy or stylish or flashy.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything was just beige and white and muted and crap. Now, some people don't want to be, but finally, I buy my Robert Grahams at the big and tall store. So finally, regular brands said, oh, we'll make big and tall clothing. So yes, if you find big and tall for both men and women and a little bit flashier, that's what people are looking for, whether you're going to sell it or donate it. Heck yeah.
And I think too that we're seeing our culture embrace all types of body types. So look and feel great with whatever shape you have.
Mm-hmm.
Not be ashamed of that. And I think you'll see a lot more options available too. I agree, Jason.
And I think one of the current singers is really helping that cause to be comfortable in your own skin. If you don't know who Lilo is, she is absolutely amazing. Plus, how often do you see a musician, a singer in today's date bring out a flute? Not too often. So not only is she good with her size and putting it out there, she's rocking the flute. And that's not a sexy instrument, I'll tell you right now. That's not a guitar.
I was a flute player. I was.
Were you?
State honor band first chair flute player. Yeah. And
I played the clarinet, and that's not sexy either.
Simon Cowell said on that show that the flute was horrible. So we need to get it popular so he can.
So we're going to start to wrap up here, but this might be the craziest thing I've seen in the chat tonight. Do you know Renee Mason, or is this a weird coincidence?
We've known each other since we were kids.
Okay, phew. I'm like, wait a minute, how does she know where you grew up? This is weird.
That's how we got the pleasure of having her.
Oh, okay.
Her friend. Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Renee.
Yeah. Listen, Renee's driving through Farmington then, and let's just announce it. She is the reigning Miss Farmington. She's the last one there ever was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go, Renee.
One time at band camp.
Renee, you don't even have a picture up here. You're the reigning Miss Farmington?
I know. She's so beautiful. You need a picture, Renee.
And in case anyone missed this, Angela says, I win. I played the bassoon. Yes, you do,
Nice.
Angela.
Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations. Angela played the most unsexy instrument out there. All right, Jeannie, so yeah, let's get together, not tonight because you're going to go rock out with Bob Seger. But let's get together. Let's find a day, and all I need is a classroom type room and a screen for my projector, and I'll gear it towards them. So if they want to learn more about music than other things, I'll definitely give them a good music course. If they want to see kind of the wide spectrum, I am happy to give them that also. So whatever those girls are interested in learning, I'm happy to do it all.
Okay, it's gonna be fun.
And Debbie wants me to ask you about your flying points.
You need another show because
All right, so let's tease your return to Thrifty Business. Why are we talking about flying points?
because I've earned like 5 million miles in the last 10 years and at least 50 free flights. And I'm telling you that you're missing out. I'm so passionate about this, but I haven't paid for a flight. I don't even know. I have 4 trips to Hawaii planned in the next 5 months. Points, no money.
Yeah, and I think we'll do a show on that because
Hawaii.
I have a friend who refused, big Amazon seller, refused to work on credit. He felt that you should always be ahead of the game. And so you should never use credit. And then he discovered a rewards credit card finally. So I think it'll be a good panel discussion for those who have never used one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Rick wanted to chime in real quick. Where to go here? Yeah, Rick played clarinet. First clarinet.
I was second chair, Rick. And not a good second chair.
And I play the saxophone, but I will say that it's a lot sexier than bassoon. So
that's the sexiest instrument there is, I think.
I played alto and tenor, so
I also played the violin, and I was equally as bad at that.
Maybe we should have a show. We all get our old instruments out. That would be fun.
Yeah,
terrible.
Make a terrible orchestra.
The worst band ever. All right, so real quick, coming up for those of you in the Cedar Beach. Your webinar this month for me is coming up on Monday. Nothing like Last Minute Charlie. Buffalo Exchange, we talked about it already a little bit. It's that rare place where you can source to make money, but also you can sell. It's a rare place, kind of like a record store. You can buy and you can get rid of the other stuff. So that's going to be on Monday. And then, funny enough, the guest on Thrifty Business next week is Jenna Harrington. Jenna's my new friend who I ran into at Buffalo Exchange, who just happened to say, "Are you Jason?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh my God, I'm a reseller because I saw your TV show, Thrift Hunters," and she is killing it, and she travels. So once a month, she's out for like a week, traveling the coast of California, over to Texas, up to Utah. So she is a sourcing machine. So I think that's going to be a great show next week.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So besides going to Bob's Secret tonight, what's next on your agenda there, Jeannie?
Hawaii. I'll be in Hawaii for 10 days. And then New York right after that. So just traveling a lot and getting ready for fourth quarter. So
yeah, Q4 is coming quick. Joy, besides your class, anything else exciting coming up for you, or we're gonna see each other in a couple of weeks?
We're gonna see each other in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited. So the class is gonna be fantastic. I'm excited to be back in Chicago. Ecom is gonna be fantastic. Excited to see everybody. But also, I didn't move any inventory from Arizona when I came. So as I am rebuilding all of my stores are completely empty right now. I'm going to start documenting, building it from the ground up. A lot of people think, oh, I could never do that. They think that we all get to a point and it's just easy peasy and they could never get there. So I thought this time around, it would be fun to kind of document the process of building from the ground up. So I'm super excited about that too. And I'm excited about being back to my favorite Chicago thrift stores.
And the first snow that comes, we will check in with you and see how you still like Chicago.
Did you see Stacy's comment? Yes, it is chilly here today and windy, and I'm wearing my flannel. But it's a cute flannel. It has bell sleeves because you need to be warm, but you need to be cute. Bell sleeves. So yeah, I love it.
Oh, girls. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in live. If you give us a thumbs up down below, give Jeannie a thumbs up, give Joy a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. And when you subscribe to any YouTube channel, make sure to click the bell because the bell will let you know when we are going live. It makes it even easier. So Mom and I will be on Sunday. I don't know what we're talking about or what time yet, but we will be there. So Jeannie, you have a great time tonight. Thank you very much for being on.
Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.
Enjoy. Have a good evening, and we'll see you all on the Thrifting Board. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oops. Got to hit end twice. Bye.